Welcome to Full Spectrum News, January 31st, 2021. Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum News. My name is Rob Yox. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to go over a lot of different topics, so it's going to take us a while to run through. We've got about 4 or 5 clips for you, in depth, off the cuff. This is how we do it. So, first thing we're going to get into is basically the hypocrisy of the new administration. A lot of people like Forbes and, a lot of different places have come out, even the Wall Street Journal, and said that the amount of executive orders that Joe Biden has put into practice, which is actually takes 30 days for them to actually clear, but it's up to 44. 44 executive orders. Why is he doing this? Now, there's a ton of maybe of reasons that could possibly be why. But first, let's go to the videotape and see just what he's doing. You ready? Now listen closely because this is hard to hear, but this is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. Okay? Have a listen. Doesn't know. Signs it anyway. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. How is that possible? How does he do that? How does he not know what he's signing yet signs it? Okay. So, one of the executive orders that he did first was the Keystone Pipeline. Okay. The Keystone Pipeline lost 70,000 jobs altogether between refinery and building. Okay. 70,000 amazing paying union jobs. Average for somebody who works in the crude oil industry is about $111,000 a year. Decent wage. It's pretty good. There are about 270,000 jobs in oil, and now they're trying to transition from oil. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do with all this stuff. They told you that they were going to be fracking. They're going to ban fracking. We know that. But one of the things that isn't talked about a lot is Alaska. Oil in Alaska amounts for a third of the whole state's business exportation and jobs. So by doing this, he's eliminating a third of the workforce in Alaska. One of the most outrageous things I've ever seen. So let's get down to bare stats. I just told you 270,000 oil jobs. That's in refinery, shipment, the Keystone Pipeline. The Keystone Pipeline accumulated for 70,000 out of the 270,000 jobs that average approximately $111,000 a year. And they said, don't worry about it. Just go get a new job. Go build solar panels. First off, the solar panels that we use are made in China. One. Two, as of right now, the approximation of jobs in solar panels, do you know how much it is? There's 21,000 solar panel either installation, sales, 21,000 jobs. Now, let's just take that 70 and minus the 21. You're literally at 49,000 job differential right off the bat. That's not including that the average salary for somebody who works in solar energy is $49,000 a year. 111,000 to 49,000. This is insane. Now, in December, when he was sitting down with George Stephanopoulos, he said, we're going to transition slowly. You can't just take the jobs away. What you have to do is you have to create the other market before you do that. So what is everybody doing? Now, he also had an executive order that said by, I believe it's the year 2030, they want to start manufacturing solely electric cars. And this is what happens, right? So people in the Democratic Party know that He's going to be signing this order. So the night before he signed that order, Nancy Pelosi's husband bought almost $1 million in Tesla stock, knowing that Tesla is the leading brand of electric cars in the United States. That's insider trading right there in a nutshell. Essentially saying, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And now they're going to walk out with millions. When I mean millions, I mean millions of dollars on this specific deal. Like this is, but one of the funny things is that they want to get mad at the Reddit rebels for coming together, but not really coming together. They are in a group that talks about stocks. That's what social media is for, is a way to connect people. So what do? They go on Reddit. If you haven't heard, they go on Reddit. They talk about GameStop. GameStop has been shorted. But the thing about this short is that what happens when let's digress and explain what shorting is. Shorting is where the hedge funds or the leads of stock say this company is going to go under, and they bet on its demise. As in, if they buy it at $20 a stock, they're betting that it's going to go down $10 to $10, $2, whatever the case may be. So some of these people, there was one specific gentleman, I don't know his name, but he figured out that this was such a drastic short that he told a lot of people, maybe we should invest in this. And they did. They bought it. And on Friday, the market closed at an incredible number for GameStop. BlackBerry, AMC are all shooting up. They're all shorted. So what happens now? Now the hedge funds owe the money, because when you buy something on short, you're literally borrowing against it. You don't physically own it. It's a loan. So what happens is they loan them. They make the extra off the difference. It's an insane story. I'm sure everybody's heard it. That's why we're not going to go too far into it. I think that it's already been played and played and played. I don't want to do that to you. Everybody knows the ins and outs now. And if you didn't know the stock market, I'm pretty sure you do know it a little bit better now. So one of the things that's on, also with these edicts that he's putting out is these executive orders. He has no idea what they are. So 44 deep. Why is he signing 44,000? Some speculate that he won't be in office very long, and he's doing it for Kamala Harris. But then you can also ask the question is, they have the Senate and Congress, the House of Representatives. Why would you need to do that? Why would you need to do that? You could pass legislation as easily as going down the line and, telling your constituents that this is what we're going to do. This is the movement we're heading. Therefore, it seems like it's fair. But I believe that a lot of the American people now seeing all this executive order action is leading them to have a lot of buyer's remorse. We've talked about this. A lot of people thought that once he got into office, they were going to get their $2,000 check from the government, the remainder of the $2,000 check. It hasn't happened yet. They've worried about a lot of other things besides the American people themselves. Also, you see this arrogance and what they're really trying to do. And this is, it's a wild thing to watch, because you're watching the breakdown of America right in front of your eyes and for everybody to see. And if you're not awake to the game now, I don't know if you'll ever be. That's called plausible deniability, and you don't want to know. It's as clear as day. And I'm going to show you. There's rhetoric that's being spat on every major news network that's inflammatory. It's dangerous, and it should never, ever happen. You're supposed to work in a bipartisan fashion as much as you possibly can. Yes, they have the lead in those specific places. Well, in the whole government, really, they own the whole government in a sense. But you have to remember that they work for us. So what do they want to do about the people? They know that a large majority of people see him as illegitimate as the president. So they're fighting back against that with severely inflammatory and dangerous rhetoric. We're going to do an example of it, but all the people speaking this inflammatory rhetoric are all people who were caught in a scandal. And the fact of the matter is, if people see that all these people with scandals are trying to fight back, is because if the shoe was on the other foot, they would maybe be in jail right now, to be quite honest. It's a wild thing. So John Brennan is a super super inflammatory guy. He is one of the people that is literally just it's so horrendous what he says here. Okay, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. It's damaging. Okay, so we're gonna go into this. It's a little bit of a longer clip, but bear with it. This is important.
On the call, I was thinking today that this is the most relaxed I've been in the course of many inaugurations I've watched, because I'm not responsible for it. But I can tell you that when I was in the government, I had white knuckles because of the nature of the threats. But it's so much more difficult today because of what we have seen, not just over the last 2 weeks, but that certainly has riveted our attention, but because of this growth in polarization in the United States and domestic violence in white supremacist groups. So I know, looking forward, that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas, where they germinate in different parts of the country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. And unfortunately, I think there has been this momentum that has been generated as a result of, unfortunately, the demagogic rhetoric of people that's just departed government, but also those who continue in the halls of Congress. And so I really do think that the law enforcement, Homeland Security, intelligence, and even the defense officials are doing everything possible to root out what seems to be a very, very...
Well, let's get to it right now. He is one of those people that's spewing that rhetoric, who was just recently in office. He was fired. He was fired from his job because he colluded with the FBI to talk about a phone call with Roger Stone, General Flynn, Carter Page, all got wrapped up in this Steele dossier lie that he co-signed. He literally co-signed it. And the fact of the matter is, he doesn't realize it, but he's talking about himself. He's literally talking about himself. And it's horrible. It's a horrible thing. And here's the other point that I want to make, right? What he's doing is he's taking the shine off of him, the lights off of him, and putting them on somebody else. We know now that the from this week that the bombs that were found in the RNC and the DNC were set the night before, which means that this whole January 6th thing was pre-planned. It was all pre-planned, and we know it. There was Antifa leaders and BLM leaders already in the building, ready to rock and roll. There is tape out there that gentleman who was already scooped up and let go already, who was the head, I forget his name off the top of my head, but they were already said on this tape that I can't believe we got people to go inside. I can't believe we got people to go inside. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. I think that, these people they're doing this because they want to villainize one side. And they keep thinking that if they push this rhetoric and push this rhetoric and push this rhetoric, it's going to demonize the right, when the true colors of the left they're coming out. You can see it all. They're talking about, mask mandates. I get it. We're in a pandemic. It happens. But now they're talking about 2 masks, 3 masks. What's it going to be? 6 masks by the time we finish? You got to wear 10 masks outside. That's it. That's the way it's going to go. No ifs, ands, or buts. 10 masks. This is crazy. It's crazy. The hypocrisy and the lunacy of this whole thing is it's almost laughable. It's like we live in crazy town. I know everybody feels the same way I do. It's like we live in crazy town. It truly, truly is. So we heard about Nancy Pelosi's husband and basically what's going on with that. He was trading his stocks, and she's another one with inflammatory rhetoric. We're going to get to that. But, even people like Politico, they have claims that Biden is hiding from the media and the public. It's part of the public strategy to restore the confidence in the White House. I don't think so. I think restoring confidence in the White House comes through transparency. Transparency is one of the biggest things that we need to really, really focus on. And it's funny because a lot of these left-leaning people, or a lot of these liberals, right, are liars. They're cheats and they're criminals. Okay. Maxine Waters funneled over $1 million in her campaign funds to her daughter so far. That's only so far. It's still going on. Okay. And it's the another crazy thing that's happening is all these swamp creatures that were put into power and now relieved of duty. What they're doing is they're putting some of them back or somebody directly related to them. Amid all this turmoil, the SEC names the wife of disgraced FBI agent Peter Strzok as the division director. Now, this has to do directly with Reddit and the stock market. The SEC regulates those things. So now they've got another player in power. Okay. So let's keep going. So Biden's pick to run the unemployment let a Nigerian fraudster steal $600 million from Washington State. Right? And here's the other part of this. If you're on the left, you've got to be feeling scorned. Like I said, the hashtag Biden lied. Antifa Democrats lash out at Biden for broken promise to provide immediate $2,000 stimulus check. All of this is coming to bear. All of it. It's insane. The left is mad. The right is mad. So what is this man doing? And I don't talk about the left a lot in good regards. I saw something today about Tulsi Gabbard, and she was throwing up this sign. You know what that is? That's that Illuminati cabal sign. I'm not sure if it was really her in the picture, but I can't say. But she's been speaking out on our behalf in a sense, and she's on the left. And I think that at this time, with what's going on, we need to educate the moderate left and bring them into a center with a lot of the right-leaning people to make a coalition to make sure that we stabilize our constitutional republic. It's not it doesn't go without saying it. It's not the greatest thing in the world. And I don't really want to do that, but I think it's more important now to bridge that gap than ever. And I think we have to come together, because I think if we get a group of people large enough to primary out these people who don't see the Constitution as a relevant document, we're in some serious trouble. We're in serious trouble. So, another headline that I saw today was Mike Pence is now homeless and couch surfing, reportedly plans to rake in millions through new nonprofit so he can make a presidential run in 2024. I'm going to tell Mike, hey, Mike, forget about it, bro. Forget about it. You got no chance. I'll never vote for you. And a lot of people will never vote for you. They feel scorned by you. They feel that you turned your back on us. And it's, and I also had one of my friends tell me, you say you're bipartisan, but you're really right-leaning in the broadcasts. I am. And you know why? Because I feel that the right is actually on the path of truth right now. If the left was on the path of truth, I would side with them too. I feel like we need to go about truth. Truth is paramount, okay? And the Constitution is paramount. So, that's just a couple of headlines that we were talking about. And now I want to get into Nancy Pelosi, okay? I want to get into Nancy Pelosi, whose husband just picked up a ton of Tesla stock, knowing that one of these edicts that Biden's putting in is electrical cars. Do you not see the circle that everything does? Everything is connected. Everything. It's all connected, like New York Telephone, they used to say. Okay? And that's why I got my superhero shirt on tonight. I felt like I had to come out of the box, ripping the shirt off my chest to tell you what's really going on. And I know it's been a while, and I apologize for that. A lot of stuff going on. But let's get to Nancy Pelosi, because this is by far the most egregious thing that you can do. You talk about unity and preach unity in every speech and all this and all that, and then you talk like this. Nancy, you're not fooling anybody. We know you're a drunk. We know you're a crook. And we know you're a terrible person. You're really a terrible person. It's that terrible that I have to call you out. Just listen. And then the reporter comes in, and it's even worse. They're like, what do you mean? Now, half the time, this lady looks like she's drunk talking, but You know, we're not going to get into that now. It's for a different day. But listen to this.
I do believe, and I have said this all along, that we will probably need a supplemental for more security for members when the enemy is within the House of Representatives, a threat that members are concerned about, in addition to what is happening outside.
What exactly did you mean when you said that the enemy is within? What exactly did
It
you mean
means
by
that we have members of Congress who want to bring guns on the floor and have threatened violence on other members of Congress.
Madam Speaker, I wanted to ask you about Marjorie Taylor Greene. How concerned are you about her past posts, remarks, rhetoric? What would you like to see done about her?
What I'm concerned about is the Republican leadership in the House of Representatives, who is willing to overlook, ignore those statements, assigning her to the Education Committee when she has mocked the killing of little children at Sandy Hook Elementary School, when she has mocked the killing of teenagers in high school at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. What could they be thinking, or is thinking too generous a word for what they might be doing? It's absolutely appalling. And I think that the focus has to be on the Republican leadership of this House of Representatives.
Now, let's be honest here. Let's just get to the real here. She never said any of that. That is a blatant lie. She never talked about Sandy Hook in that manner. She never talked about the other high school in that manner. This woman is persecuted. She just got in to Congress. So now this woman is literally having a conniption. So yeah, I apologize. We got cut off, a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. The rhetoric that this woman's spewing, this hate, okay, is dangerous. One. Two, what they're doing is they're vilifying one side. Why are they doing that? Because they know that their administration is fraudulent, the elections were fraudulent, and everything else was fraudulent. They know that they don't belong there. They know that those people should not have all that power right now. And maybe they stole it. So that's why they're acting like this. They're acting like this because they believe that they're entitled to this power. They are the elite. They are the top. They are the cabal. That is what they are. Now, they say, well, and then John Brennan also says stuff like, oh, they think about this deep state, whatever. You are, because there's a two-tier government. When you do something wrong, you don't get in trouble. Just like the gentleman that they just caught who was manipulating the Pfizer court, got 2 years probation. 2 years probation. If that was anybody else, that would have been sedition. We would have got 20 years in prison. 20 years, guaranteed, guaranteed. So let's think about this too, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, she came in before she even hit that Congress floor. She said, I'm going to impeach Joe Biden. That's it. We're going to get this done. And he's incompetent. We see it. We see he's a prop, a puppet. We know this, right? So with that being said, this is what she goes through on a daily basis inside of the Capitol building. I saw this. I couldn't believe it. Okay. She's doing a live video and she takes her mask down. Why does she take her mask down? Because she's talking to people. So now listen to what happens. And one of the other Democratic colleagues has to say to her. Take a listen.
You know what? Yeah, don't yell at people. You know what? You shouldn't bring COVID positive members in here, spreading COVID everywhere. Stop being a hypocrite. Yeah, this is how it is here now. This is how it is.
Representative Bush talked about
Crazy. That's crazy. The fact that she had to go, they're supposed to be working together on our behalf. And what are they doing? They're bickering like children. Tulsi Gabbard was on Joe Rogan. She said it's like the biggest high school you've ever met. Now, here's the part that I don't like, right? Because there's a lot of people on the right and there's a lot of people on the left, and they don't care about anything but making money and basically being in the spotlight, the fame, the power, all that. That's what they want. That's what they ultimately and really want. But here's the problem with that, okay? That's not your job. And I hate to tell them, but we're your boss. Just like Cheney. Cheney is being censured back to Wyoming because her caucus and her Wyoming constituents want an explanation why she didn't back former President Trump. They want to know why. And she has a fundraiser. She said she might not be able to make it because she's got a fundraiser with all of Wall Street. And she thinks that that supersedes her constituents. This is the problem. Money over people. And I really truly believe that we need to formulate plan B. Now, everybody was waiting, trust the plan, trust in him. And I understand that. And I get that. But we have to make sure that we have backup upon backup upon backup. Why? Because if we don't, in less than a year, this country's going to be a socialist country. That's not the country I grew up in. That's not the country I want my children to grow up in. And I hope you don't either. There's a lot of things that are upsetting when you watch the news now. And I know I've done quite a bit of upsetting tonight. And I apologize for that. But like I said, I want people to know what's really going on. What's really happening. I think it's important. And I think you're intelligent enough to make your own decision. And I think we need to reach out. Every day, more and more people are being red-pilled. Every day. Every day. This is our time to reach out to them. It's going to be unnerving for a lot of people. Once they get this information and once they see what these people are truly about, they don't care. And we have to care. Because as much as the left is the left, they're waking up and they're still Americans. And we have to do everything in our power to save those people. It goes back to this everybody talks about propaganda, and it goes back to propaganda. Propaganda was literally funneled through mind control. That's what propaganda is. It's funneled mind control. They're basically telling you how to feel by adjusting the environment or adjusting what you see and what you hear. And if they think if you hear it enough, that you're going to start repeating it. And some people do. It's called talking points. So this is what MK Ultra was all about. Figuring out how to get to people, how to break people, and then build them back up in their own image. And this is what this is about. We're fighting against this. We're fighting against this authoritarian state. We can't let this happen. And when I mean fight, I do not mean violent in any way. Another thing we need to do is we need to hold them accountable for their own rules. We need to build, Dan Bongino says it the best. They made the rules, now they have to live by them. The hypocrisy will call them out. Cancel culture, we can't let it get to us. We have to build our own economy. We have to build our own, people, credit card companies, our own phone companies, all aspects of business. We have to build a conservative side to it. Why? Because it'll offset what they're trying to do. And they've got the media, they've got the banks, they've got the hedge funds, they've got everything. So we need to do the same thing, and we need to get everything under our wing as well. Therefore, their cancel culture will not be so powerful. Because right now, if they want to, they can take you off the map. Done. And then they can close your bank accounts. They can do so many things to ruin your life. And it's crazy because I do this and they could ruin my life in a minute. But I think that this is more prevalent. This is paramount to get the truth out as opposed to worry about the woes that may come my way. and I hope you see that. Another thing I want to thank everybody that sent me messages this week and told me that they really enjoyed what I was doing, and I appreciate that. That means more to me than anything else. That means that I'm reaching people and I'm getting through to people, and that's all I really want to do. Nothing else to me is, is in the forefront but that. I hope you guys enjoyed the news. My name is Rob Yox. Please, if you haven't gone to our YouTube, please go and subscribe to. It's under Full Spectrum Universe right now. We also have a Rumble and a BitChute under the same name. We are still on Facebook and Twitter, all of Full Spectrum Universe. Please follow what we do. It's important, and we're going to have a couple documentaries that come out that probably won't be able to go on YouTube, just Rumble. And BitChute. So I would suggest you go there and at least subscribe there as well. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great evening. Be blessed. God bless America. God bless the Patriots. And God bless all of you. Thank you very much and have a great night.